Good morning to everyone. Welcome to the municipality of Soacha. My name is Lisette, and I will be accompanying you on this tour. Being here in the main park, I will start by telling a brief historical review of Soacha. The name of Soacha dates back to the pre-Columbian era of the Huacha people of the Chipchas Empire. Legend has it that Sua means sun and Cha means merle. That's why Soacha is recognized as the city of the male of the sun or the city of the male god. In the Chipcha era, Huacha was an indigenous village of the Zipa of the Muiscas Confederation, in which Bochica god taught agriculture, weaving, and sun worship. Then, with the arrival of the Spanish colonization and the fall of the Muisca people, Huacha continued being an indigenous word until the year of 1600, when the oidor Luis Enriquez translated his name into Spanish. He protected the Indians in their lands and crops and ordered them to be joined on added in the manner of the people. Following the diligence of the civil authority, the order of the construction of the Church of the Doctrine was given, thus legitimizing the presence of Christianity among the indigenous. This act took place on December 31 of 1600. And for this reason, on this date, the creation of Soacha is commemorated every year. The doctrine of Soacha, named as it was known to the peoples of Indians, has been described as a dwelling place of the Indian population in which all cold weather food was produced, with a large livestock area and the permanent exchange of products coming from the east. During the following centuries and after the independence, Soacha was no more than an ordinary town with very little importance beyond the Salto del Tequendama that generate the tourist interest of those who visit Bogota or the residents in it. A momentous change for the history of this place occurred in 1875, when the lifting of the population plan was made by the engineer Alejandro Caicedo, and its name was changed to Soacha. In that year, it is also recognized as the municipality of the state of Cundinamarca. On our right is the San Bernardino of Soacha Church, which, as I mentioned earlier, was built in the year 1600 because the city had no Indians to support it. It was made of mud and tiles, but the earthquake of July 12, 1785 left it reduced to rubble and had to be reset again. Shortly before 8 o'clock in the morning, an earthquake was felt in wide sectors of the national territory, but with particular force in the Sabana of Bogotá, which left in total ruin to the church of Soacha, Cajicá, Engativá, and Fontibón. In the rebuilding of the church, some materials that had been left from the church of the extinct town of the Tuso were used. The rebuilding lasted until 1791, but the fate of this church was not very durable since another earthquake in 1827 completely destroyed it, and again on February 9, 1977, the church was seriously damaged by a new tremor. At approximately then in the morning, he fell the main cupola where the clock was. The church cracked in two parts obliquely, thus damaging the three entrances, which in each of them were the different religious images in stone, the wooden confessionals, and the columns finished in marble with its colonial style. In the same church on February 15, 1836, General Francisco de Paula Santander, with 44 years old, decided to end his bachelorhood and get married with Mrs. Sixta Pontón, 21 years old. During the 50s, religious activity were accompanied by the fervor of the inhabitants of that old church. One of those activities developed was that of Corpus Christi, which is the feast of the body and blood of Christ, of the presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. The festival was an opportunity for the people of Soacha to promote values and share a recreational space. The preparation for Corpus Christi begins several days in advance. They clean the houses, the streets, and the main square of Father Alvaro Navas, parish priest and rector of School Bolivar, would begin the ceremony. The settler installed arches of flowers and ribbons to give thanks for the fecundity of their land. There were also religious reasons, and they were completed by the intervention of bands of other acts of communal participation. This is the main park of Soacha, called Luis Alfonso Pumarejo, which has been modified 3 times. In the 70s it was little passable, and its floor was on land. In this place the milk was made every Sunday. The farmers placed their awnis to offer their products that they themselves harvest. In the center of the park, we see a great part on the ground that where bullfighting took place. In front is the major office. During the 40s, the Spanish colonial style enjoyed great popularity. The houses were high ceilings of mud or square tile, columns and beams in eucalyptus wood, was covered with stucco crafted by hand. Doors and wooden windows, floor in stone, tile or wood, and often a yard or garden with a fountain. This major office has all these characteristics and is one of the few colonial houses that still survive. It is the sculpture of Luis Carlos Galán Sarmiento, presidential candidate of the Liberal Party, who came to make his political campaign to Soacha on August 18, 1989, at 8:30 at night. At the time he raised his arm he greeted the public. He was shot. He was taken alive and cautioned to the Kennedy Hospital in Bogota, half an hour from Soacha, but he died despite medical efforts. Also died the councilman of Soacha, Julio César Peñalosa Sánchez, who was on the right side of Galán at the time of the attack and who was hit by a fatal shot to the head. And Santiago Cuervo died, who was Galán's escort and who was the third to receive the bullet impact, died days later. His death was due to the fact that his ideals were against drug trafficking and corruption. He wanted to govern Colombia ethically and turn it into a nation for the people, a situation that some criminal and political groups saw as a threat since it was considered a favorite to occupy the presidential chair in 1990. In the southern part of the park is the Maria Auxiliadora School, one of the oldest and largest schools in Soacha. They say that two nuns were hanged in the courtyard of the school and that sometimes they are seen in the courtside post the heads of the nuns hanging. Towards the middle of the 20th century, both the passengers on the buses and the rest of vehicles made obligatory stops in the main square of the town to respond to the greeting of the relentless dealers in a white skirt and flowered apron, who were in these blue boots to test the garullas and mojábanas, longanizas, arequipes, sweets, and chicha. With this, the railway station, the main square, and the famous and remembered tourist park, where the House of Culture is now, became the most visited sites by visitors and passers-by in search of Soachuna's meals. Beyond the square or the railway station, some women prepared from the artisanal schnapps, better known as the chirrinche, to the cuchuco de trigo, and moved to the Salto del Tequendama to sell their products to tourists there. Something very important also is that the chicha is from Soacha. Corn is the essence of chicha and represents the base of various food products. This pre-Hispanic cereal becomes the basic product of national cuisine, a fact that is observed in the culinary Soachuna. One of the possible meanings of chicha during this fermented drink with the meaning of the word Suacha. As we already know, Suacha means city of the male god. The term Chicha means in Chibcha language for our males, of Chi, ours, and Sha, male. The chicha came to represent among the chichas a drink intimated associated with religiosity, daily life, ritual, fertility, death, and initiation, political parties, and Muisca mythology. Chicha was an inseparable and ritual part of the indigenous culture. Signed on 1750, the Andean Plateau was a notorious bakery area, supplied by huge with fields, cornfields, and berry. Since then, the muleteers and workers have been feeding with almojábanas, chicheros, garullas, bread, and biscuits made from corn flour. Also, the ingredients and their preparation have varied over time. Almojábana has its root in the Hispano-Arab culture of Andalusia. The elaboration of the almojábana is not as fine or delicate as of the garulla, or at least as it has been manufactured by the baker Suachuna. The ingredients to prepare the almojábana are freshly squeezed fresh curd, egg, and a certain amount of flour, corn, and wheat. We are in the Canoas Metropolitan Park. Starting, I will explain what is the rock art, drawing, strokes, brand, and in general all those traces of activity that our ancestors left reflected on rocky surface in natural environments. Rock painting is the application of certain pigments such as iron oxide, manganese, coal, animal blood, and vegetable dye. When making mixtures, they obtain different colors, from black to white, going through red, orange, and yellow. Suacha was formerly a fairly strategic location, because it had borders between the Muisca and the Panches, and since the two indigenous peoples had certain discussion, and for this reason Suacha maintained a strategic value as the defensive epicenter of the Muisca society. Continuing with the ancient inhabitants of this territory, we can say that they were located in almost 19,000 square kilometers in the entire savanna of Bogotá and these surroundings. San it is the municipality where they are today. Almost 400 years have passed since the mandate of the Spaniards was sent to reduce indigenous groups. Some parts of the savanna, more specifically in what was then known as Suacha, and this was practically the beginning of what today is one of the largest municipalities in Cundinamarca. One of the most important legends of this place is the fight between the owner of these properties, who was Mr. Urdaneta, and the devil. Legend has it that for a time the cattle that remained in this place began to die, and when the owner realized that the person responsible for the death was the devil. He challenged him to fight, and if he won, the devil had to leave that place and not bother anymore. After fighting several hours and almost reaching down, Mr. Urdaneta wins. But as the devil is about losing speed in the river that supplied water to the whole municipality poison, it and so many people and animals of the plains begin to die. When he releases Urdaneta, invokes the devil again and tells him to clean at the river again and that he will give him, at the end of the week, an offering of some animal in his honor. The municipality of Soacha is characterized for containing in its territory a large quantity of rocks with rock art, in which the use of paint based on ochre red pigment predominates, which is related to a cultural tradition common to the entire Cundiboyacense highlands. The cave paintings found in Soacha are characterized by the recurrent use of points, lines, circles, zigzags, meanders, diamonds, hands, crosses, and endless combination of geometric shapes, reflected on walls of rocky shelters and erected blocks, which emerge in high and broken areas of the municipality. In relation to the rock art tradition of the Cundiboyacense highlands, in Soacha some particularities are present that could indicate that possible local variants will develop in its territory. One of the characteristic elements of rock art in Soacha is the existence of very varied handprints. These were made by impregnating the pulp with the pigment and subtracting part of it until forming various designs, to finally capture it on the stone surface. Around 1924, the engineer Miguel Triana gave the name Soacha God to a rock painting located on a hill in the village of Panama. For this reason, numerous transcriptions have been made that differ from each other and from the original motif. It has been interpreted as the supposed representation of the etymology of the word Chicha Soacha, or it could be the representation of a bird. There are also paintings inside niches or rocky cavities, which indicate that the rock artist chose them in a conscientious and differentiated way from the external and flat surface of the rocks. The lagoons, caves, and hollow were, according to the Spanish chronicles and some archaeological findings, sacred places where the Indians deposited offerings and mummies. In some cave murals are identified overlays of paintings, which meant that they were not made in a single moment. Sometimes it was painted on previous stroke, respecting the original figure, while others reflected a new motif. The sites with such rock art are mostly in the hills and broken areas to the south and east of the town, with a few demonstrations in the northern hills. The ecological park La Poma, in its proximity with the rocky shelters of the Tequendama, allows to associate it with a millenary space of human occupation that science archaeology is considered one of the oldest in the country. His sites with rock art have been recognized for more than a century by various researchers. The location of the cities with rock art in this sector of the park, El Charquito, correspond mostly to the canoas, which is projected to be suitable as an archaeological park. This is the area with the greatest amount and density of rocky outcrops and cave paintings, as well as being very close to the ruins of the old colonial town of Tus. This is all for today. I hope you liked it and have learned. Thank you so much.